Good evening all. Today we are going to revise the chapter determinants. First of all, what is a determinant? You will get to know. To every matrix A equals to Aij of order n, we associate a number real or complex called determinant of A. Determinant of A is actually nothing. It is a number associated to each of the matrix. So that is what? That is the determinant. It is denoted by data, delta or this notation determinant of A. These all of you know, right? In other words, determinant is a function f from m to k, where m is the set of matrices and k is the set of numbers. So we can call determinant as a function whose domain is the set of matrices and the range or codomain is the set of numbers. Numbers can be complex or real, right? So now how to evaluate determinant of order 1 is the element of that matrix only. So if we have a matrix of order 1, that means 1 cross 1. As you all know, determinant is for only square matrices, as written here. To every matrix that is square, right? So determinant is for square matrices only. So determinant of order 1 will be the element involved in the determinant, right? So determinant of a matrix having a11 element only will be equals to a11. Now determinant of matrix order 2 is obtained as, suppose we have a general matrix of order 2, a11, a12, a21, a22. So it will be nothing, it will be the product of main diagonal elements minus the product of other diagonal elements. So it will be a11, a22 minus a12, a21, right? So this will be how you will be evaluating the determinant of matrix of order 2, that means 2 cross 2. Now determinant of order 3 is obtained as, how you obtain the determinant of a matrix of order 3, that means 3 cross 3. So write a general matrix a1, a11, a12, a13, a21, a22, a23, a31, a32, a33. Now you can evaluate this determinant by expanding through any row or column. So if you expand through row 1, how you will expand? You will take the first element of row 1, a11, into minus 1 power sum of the suffixes. Sum of suffixes means the suffix used in the notation of the element, into the determinant of matrix obtained by deleting its first row and first column, plus second element of first row, that is a12, into minus 1 power sum of suffixes, into determinant of matrix obtained by deleting first row and second column, plus a13, that is third element, into minus 1 power 1 plus 3, into determinant of matrix obtained by deleting first row and third column, right? Next, in the next exercise we have is properties of determinant. What we have? Properties of determinant. So these are the very important properties on which your second exercise is based. So first property says the value of determinant remains unchanged if its rows and columns are interchanged. If we interchange rows and columns, that means we are taking the transpose, right? So that means that the determinant will be equals to determinant of its transpose. So transpose of any matrix, suppose we have a matrix A, and transpose of that matrix will be A dash or A transpose. So both will have same determinant. This is what the property first says. Now second property, if two rows or columns, now this holds for both rows and columns. So if two rows of a determinant are interchanged, now if we have to interchange two rows, I am interchanging two rows, then the sign of determinant changes. If determinant is positive, after the interchanging of two rows, the determinant will become negative of the same number, right? This is what the second property says. Third property, if any two rows or columns of a determinant are identical, then the value of the determinant is 0. That means we have the same rows or columns. Same rows or columns. That means we have two rows which are identical. Identical means all the elements are same of that rows. So if that elements are same for both the rows, then its determinant will be 0. This is what your third property states. Now fourth property, if each element of a row or column, if each element of a row or a column, that means I am taking all the elements of row of a determinant is multiplied by a constant k. That means I am multiplying one row or one column with k. Then its value gets multiplied by k. That means the resulting determinant will be k times of the original determinant. So this is what your fourth property states. Fifth property, if sum or all the elements of a row or column of a determinant are expressed as sum of two or more terms, then the determinant can be expressed as sum of two or more determinants. That means we can break that determinant into two or more determinants, right? And the last property, sixth property, states that the value of determinant remains same if we apply any of the elementary operation Ri applied as Ri plus K Rj, or Ci applied to Ci plus K Cj. That means if we apply any elementary operation on row or column, the value of determinant will remain same. This was all the properties on the determinant which will be used to solve your second exercise. Now moving on to third exercise, in that you have only one topic which says area of a triangle with the help of determinants. Now how to find the area of a triangle? So area of a triangle with vertices x1 y1 x2 y2 x3 y3 will be delta equals to half of x1 y1 1, x2 y2 1 and x3 y3 1. So this will be your formula for the area of a triangle with vertices x1 y1 x2 y2 and x3 y3 with the help of determinants. So now some points on this. If the value of determinant or delta is negative, we take its absolute value, as the area can't be negative. I think this will be clear to you because the area is never negative. So if it is never negative, we will take the absolute value of delta. Absolute value means modulus value, right? Second important point, the area of a triangle formed by three collinear points is 0. So this is very important result which will help you to solve many questions, which says that if 3 points are collinear, the area of triangle formed by that 3 points will be 0. So this is your fourth point. Third point states, which is for the area of 3 collinear points, area of triangle formed by 3 collinear points. This was whole for your exercise number 3. Now exercise number 4. In exercise number 4 you have two things. One is minor and other is cofactor. One is minor and other is cofactor. So now minor of an element Aij. So first of all, minor is what? Minor is for any element. It is associated with every element. So minor of any element Aij of a determinant is the determinant obtained by deleting its ith row and jth column. Now what to do? If we have to obtain the minor of Aij, just remove the ith row and jth column. Whatever you will be left out, whatever matrix you will be left out with, find its determinant, you will get the minor of that element, that is Aij. So minor of an element Aij is denoted by Mij, right? Now a remark on this. They said minor of an element of a determinant of order n is the determinant of order n minus 1. Yes, of course it is. Why it is? Because minor of an element of determinant of order n. Now if we have a determinant of order n and we are finding the minor of any element, we are deleting one row and one column. So if we are deleting one row and one column will be lesser and one row will be lesser. So we will get n minus 1 cross n minus 1. So we will get a determinant of order n minus 1. Next is cofactor of an element. Cofactor is actually nothing, just the extension of the minor. So cofactor of an element Aij denoted by capital Aij is defined by Aij will be equals to minus 1 power I plus j. That means the minus 1 power sum of the suffixes into Mij, where Mij is what? Mij is the minor of Aij. So we have to first find the minor and then multiply it with minus 1 power sum of the suffixes. That will be your cofactor of the element. Now an important remark based on this, they said expanding the determinant delta along R1, we will have delta will be equals to A11 capital A11 plus A12 capital A12 plus A13 capital A13. This is nothing. Whenever you will write the value of A11 capital A11 capital A12 capital A13, you will get your determinant back by expanding it through R1, right? So where a capital Aij is what? It is the cofactor of small aij. Now important remark based on this only, if the elements of a row are multiplied with the cofactors of any other row. Now we are taking one row and multiplying its element by cofactors of other row, we will get their sum as 0. We will get their sum as 0. Suppose I am taking the elements of first row and taking the cofactors of second row. So if I will multiply both and add, I will get it 0. So this will be your important result. Next, fifth exercise is based on the adjoint of a matrix and inverse of a matrix. Now how to find adjoint of a matrix? See, the adjoint of a square matrix, first of all, adjoint is always for a square matrix. So adjoint of a square matrix, A equals to Aij n cross n, that means our matrix is of order n, is defined as the transpose of the matrix of cofactors. Matrix Aij capital Aij n cross n, where Aij capital Aij is the cofactor of element small aij. Now we said that it will be adjoint of A will be nothing, it will be the transpose of the cofactor matrix. That means if I have to find the cofactors of all the elements of A, then form its matrix, then take its transpose, you will get the adjoint of A. Now see how to do. If A is A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. Now adjoint of A will be transpose of the matrix of cofactors. So cofactor of small a11 will be capital A11, cofactor of small a12 will be capital A12, cofactor of small a13 will be capital A13, and so on. Then take its transpose. So whenever transpose will be taken, you will get your matrix capital A11, capital A21, capital A31, capital A12, capital A22, capital A32, then capital A13, capital A23, capital A33. So this will be your adjoint of A. Now one important result which says if A be any given matrix of order n, then A into adjoint of A will be equals to adjoint of A into A equals to determinant of A into I. So this will be your result. Next, they said a square matrix B is said to be singular if B determinant will be equals to 0. Determinant of B is 0, then B is called singular matrix. So any matrix will be singular when its determinant will be 0. Otherwise B is said to be non-singular. Non-singular means its determinant is non-zero, right? Now the determinant of the product of matrices is equals to product of their determinants. That means we can take determinant of AB as determinant of A into determinant of B, their individual determinants. So determinant of A into B will be equals to determinant of A into determinant of B. Next, inverse. Now how to find inverse and what is the condition for inverse, you will get to know here. A square matrix is said to be invertible if and only if A is non-singular matrix. So for non-singular matrix only we can find the inverse. For singular matrix we can't find the inverse, and it is given by A inverse equals to adjoint of A by determinant of A. Now these things you all know, how to find adjoint A, how to find determinant of A. You can find A inverse easily. Now you can put adjoint A and determinant of A. Next result on inverse, which says AB whole inverse will be equals to B inverse into A inverse. That means order is changed, right? So this is the important result based on the inverse. So this was your whole exercise 5th. Now moving on to last exercise, which is the application of determinants. Application part of determinants, and application is based on solution of linear system of equations with the help of determinants. Now the system of linear equations can be represented as Ax equals to B, as seen in the matrices chapter. You all know how we can write the system of linear equations as Ax equals to B, where A is the matrix of coefficients, B is the column matrix of constants, and X is the column matrix of unknowns. So with the help of this representation, we will find the solution of linear system of equations. So first of all, to find the solution of linear system of equations, first case is there. Now if A is non-singular matrix, if we have A as non-singular matrix, that means non-singular means determinant of A will be non-zero. So then its inverse exists, and if inverse will exist, how to find the solution? We know that Ax is equals to B. Multiply both sides left-handed by A inverse, we will get X will be equals to A inverse B. Now evaluate A inverse. B already you have. Find A inverse. Multiply both A inverse into B. You will get the column matrix, which will be equals to X matrix, which is column matrix of unknowns. Compare their corresponding elements. You will get your values of X, Y and Z, or whether any other unknowns are required in the X matrix. Clear? Next is case 2. Now how to find the inverse or solution of system of equations whenever the matrix is singular. If matrix is singular, inverse will not exist. If inverse will not exist, then how we find the system of equations or solution of system of equations? We have, if A is singular matrix, then determinant of A is 0. This all of you know. Now in this case, we calculate adjoint A into B. As you know, we were finding earlier A inverse into B. Now A inverse does not exist, but A inverse is actually what? Adjoint A by that A. The troublemaking term is that of A, right? So if that of A I can remove, just calculate adjoint of A into B. Then if adjoint of A into B is not equals to O matrix, that is 0 matrix or null matrix, then solution does not exist. Solution does not exist, and the system of equations is called inconsistent. All of you know the solution of system of equations is called inconsistent whenever it does not have any solution. Now if adjoint A into B is 0, that is null matrix or 0 matrix, then the system may be either consistent or inconsistent according as the system have either infinitely or many solutions or no solution. That is, we have to look for the system whenever adjoint A into B is null matrix. We have to look on the system whether it has infinitely many solutions or no solution. That means it is consistent or inconsistent. So this was your whole summary of the determinants chapter. You must revise all this chapter, and we will study many problems based on this chapter in our class. Thank you, and we'll meet you in the class.